Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy December 8th, and welcome to your horror advent calendar. How many times have you watched The Shining since yesterday's video? Please comment down below and let me know. But now we're moving right along to our 8th holiday horror recommendation. Okay, you heard it here first, folks. Our 8th holiday horror pick is none other than Gaspar Noé's 2018 film, Climax. Now this is yet another film I'm sure you're saying is not a Christmas movie. Hardly even a holiday movie, some may argue. But I argue back. There's a lot of snow in this movie, so it is a Christmas movie. I am already getting carried away, so let's take a second to take a look at the Letterboxd summary of the movie. It says, "Birth and death are extraordinary experiences. Life is a fleeting pleasure. Young dancers gather in a remote and empty school building to rehearse on a cold and wintry night. Winter. The all-night celebration soon turns into a hallucinatory nightmare when they learn that their sangria is laced with LSD." Y'all, this movie is wild. I don't know how I would summarize the plot other than that. It's dancers in one location, just high off of their faces on LSD and losing their goddamn minds. I have been meaning to watch this one for a while. I never got around to it until a couple of months ago. I had recently quit my job. I was feeling some type of way and I was like, tonight's the night, you know? And what a night it was. I'm not super well versed in French horror. I haven't seen a lot of French horror movies, but this one and Raw both stick in my mind as some prominent French horror movies I've seen. Hello, I'm editing right now, and Martyrs. I forgot Martyrs. Martyrs. Carry on. And they share some similarities in that they are both brutal and nasty. What is going on in France? Are they okay? But let's see what the audience has to say. It has a 3.7 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, a lot of 4-star reviews it seems. I myself gave it 4 stars. People seem to like it, and it looks like a lot of my friends have seen it as well, and they all seem to feel favorably towards it as well. Climax, it's a movie. It is a movie. Right off the bat, the thing I like about it the most is easily the dancing. It's a story about dancers, and one of the very first scenes is something like an 11-minute long unbroken dance sequence. It is truly exhausting to watch. I don't understand how they can do that. I also read they did like 26 takes of it. The one used in the movie was one of the last takes. I cannot even imagine. I would have been kicked off that set so fast, carried away in a stretcher, I would have passed away trying to make this movie. But I mean, the dancing is just incredible. I don't know what to say about it. I can't move my body, so I can't speak eloquently on it, but it's great. But speaking of 11-minute long dance scenes, there's a lot of really long takes in this movie, and really long stretches of it are made to look like it's all done in one take, which I always think is impressive. What can I say? I'm easily wooed. So it really just puts you in the mind frame of you being there with these people experiencing that night. And it is not pleasant. I should say, I like this movie a lot. It is not pleasant to watch. It is a wholly unpleasant experience, which is kind of something that I like about it. It's just, this movie is super disturbing. It is not for the faint of heart. It's a highly upsetting watch. Another thing that I really appreciate about Climax is, aside from Sofia Boutella, who plays sort of the lead dancer, all the actors are non-actors, really. They're all dancers, obviously. But they're all largely non-actors, which I think often leads to really natural performances. It's just really believable, and they're doing some very, very impressive stuff. As for some negatives for the movie, as there are always some, the fact that it is so disturbing could definitely be a negative for some people. It could turn people off of this. Fair play. It also, at least to me, starts out really slow. I think I was kind of on edge for the whole beginning of this movie because I knew the reputation that this movie had. So I was just like waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I'm an impatient person. So I was getting kind of impatient with all the dialogue. And the way that I mentioned it being really naturalistic as a positive, it's also kind of a negative because there are just these really long stretches of conversation to establish character and be like, this is how this person behaves. They're just really long, and I was like, I'm just waiting for the acid trip to start. I think it sometimes went too far with just letting them talk about whatever. I think it was clearly a lot of improvisation. There was one conversation in particular between these two guys who were just talking about the heinous sexual acts they wanted to do with everyone in the room that just went on for so long. But I mean, once things get going, they really get going, and you kind of forget about how slow it was at the start. Now, the next couple of negatives I have about this movie are gonna be pretty big spoilers. So, if you want to go in this unspoiled, just skip ahead to whatever time I'm gonna put on the screen. But there is harm done to a child in this movie, and I know when we talked about the children, I talked about how fun it was that they were willing to wail on these kids. But in this context, it's not a child who's trying to kill a bunch of people. It's just a kid who got mixed up in this situation, and it's really brutal what happens to him, and I found it very upsetting. I'm not even sure the best way to say this, but there's a scene where a miscarriage is forced upon someone, and there's a scene of pretty intense self-harm. So if any of those things are gonna ruin your day, ruin your life, ruin your Christmas vibes, steer clear, it's okay. You don't need to watch Climax. Totally fine. I hope I didn't turn you off too badly from this movie because I do think it's really good. I'll probably never watch it again, but it's really good. As for my defense of labeling this as a Christmas movie, there's a lot of snow. There's people thrown into the snow, people crawling through the snow. It's very chilly overall, and everyone's drunk. What's more Christmassy than that? So I hope you do watch Climax, unless you don't want to. That's okay, I'm not gonna be mad, but if you wanna watch it, I hope you watch it. Let me know what you think if you do, but otherwise, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I will see you tomorrow.